My name is Leanne, and I'm addicted to sugar. Also, I have makeup on, and I've done my hair today. Major win. But really, over the last couple of weeks, well, no, if I'm being serious and honest with myself, I would say over the last couple of months, I've really noticed how deep of a connection I have with sugar. I've been doing a high fat, low carb eating style since about June-ish, when I went like fully official. And every couple, like the first couple of weeks were really good. Maybe 3 weeks, I was totally rocking it, losing weight, feeling awesome. My energy was great. And then after about the 3 week mark, I started getting a lot of weird sugar cravings, but it wasn't like, oh, I crave an apple because it's good for me. It was like, if I don't have sugar right now or candy in my mouth, I am going to punch somebody in the face. And so I ate the candy. And was still losing weight and everything was going really well. So I was like, hey, that's part of a balanced life. You eat candy, whoop-de-doo, it's all good. But then a week later, I started craving candy again. And then again and again and again. Every 7 days, I craved candy. And it wasn't like eating something like a sugary drink wouldn't do it for me. It was specifically like the gummy, jujube, yummy, sour watermelon, Sour Patch Kids awesomeness. And a couple of weeks ago, Kevin, my husband, and I had this really in-depth conversation about my full-on addiction to sugar. And it was the first time that I actually opened up about my addiction to feeling good on candy gummy things. To rewind back when I was a kid, my dad and my sister and I would eat candy like it was our job. And this was a special event. Anytime we were all together, enjoying a movie or going camping together, there was always jujube, sugary candy things. Dad always kept candy in his car because it's how he stopped smoking. And so looking back, candy played such a huge role in my childhood and in associating those feelings of I'm going to eat candy and I'm going to feel good because every time that I eat candy, I am enjoying my life. And so I've noticed since having this conversation with Kevin that anytime I'm upset or I feel lonely or I just didn't have a very good day and I need a pick-me-up, I crave candy. And it's not just like a handful. Like I could eat it until I'm blue in the face. And, over my lifetime, I've overcome a lot of different addictions to things. I have a very addictive personality, and I'm sure many of you out there do too, because it's quite common for us all to get a little bit attached to certain things. And it can even be healthy things, like an addiction to working out or eating healthy, or we can all obsess about these certain things. So for me, that candy, any time that I ate it, any time that I had the sugar or anything like that, it made me feel good. And if I didn't get it, I would get really upset. I would hide things. I would hide candy. If I couldn't finish it, I would hide it somewhere to eat it later. And so this is not a good thing. And so for me, it was really about over the last couple of weeks, like sugar is really hard to give up. And I've never really given it up, even throughout my healthy living eating style and pursuing a healthy life. I always thought that, a handful of candy here and there isn't all that bad for you. It's all good, you eat healthy all the time. What's like a little tiny thing? But it's an addiction. And if you don't stop it completely, like completely remove it out of your life, you will always crave it. So something interesting, I was meeting with a girlfriend the other day and she was saying, it would be like telling an alcoholic that they can no longer drink and then making them work in a liquor store. Of course they're going to drink. Of course they're going to drink probably too much because that moment, it's interesting, in a binge type situation, especially when it comes with addictions, that moment that you go toward that food, whether it be candy or chocolate or whatever your Achilles heel is, for instance, the minute you go toward that feeling that you have right before you overindulge, that feeling that you create. So for me, because of the jujubes with my dad and all the candy with my friends and all that kind of stuff, it was that happiness, joy feeling, the joy feeling that I was trying to have by always eating the candy. That feeling that I go after and I feel before I overdo it with the candy. The lesson here, and something that I've been trying to practice, is how can I create that joy in other things other than food? So, what makes me feel happy? I love crafting. I am obsessed with making little cards. For instance, here's one that I'm sending to a client today, and a couple Christmas cards like this one that I just created. Like, I love doing that. It brings me so much joy. I see it sitting there and I'm like, oh man, I made that. That's so awesome. So for me, it's just, okay, if I'm craving candy, therefore maybe I don't feel so much joy in my life right now. Okay, off to my craft room and I'll create something and I'll feel that joy. So it's not so much about don't eat that stuff, because it's hard. It's impossible to say, just don't eat the candy. Just step away from the candy. If you are chasing a feeling, not getting that feeling and just stepping away from the situation is not going to help at all. So for me, it's about incorporating that joy into my life and things other than food. Even walking outside in the sun brings me joy. So a quick 15-minute walk, closing my eyes, standing in the sun, that does it for me. Another piece specifically to sugar is that sugar, they're saying, is more addictive than most drugs. And so there's a lot of issues that come along with that. And when you eat sugar, it's that immediate serotonin response that makes us happy. And so therefore it becomes addicting. So anytime we're down, like in my case, anytime that I wasn't feeling joy, I would go toward candy because my body knows, Leanne, when you are sad, you eat candy, it makes you feel better because serotonin is released. So there's a lot of interesting information out there about how sugar addiction and people that are sugar addicts, and this goes far beyond just candy. It can be carbohydrates, even when it comes to like the healthy things like sweet potatoes, kale, whole grains, which a lot of people think are pretty healthy, and we can talk about that another day. I'm not going to get into it talking about sugar addiction, but you can be addicted to those things and those carbs because they elicit the same response. They increase that serotonin and make you feel good. So oftentimes, when I'm working with my clients and they're like, oh, Leanne, I was craving bananas for like every day. I crave like 5 bananas. Well, yeah, it could be potassium and maybe you're not getting enough, but oftentimes, it's not your body telling you, hey, I need potassium. It's your mind saying, hey, we're depressed and we know that bananas make us feel better because there's sugar in it and it will increase our serotonin levels. So it's pretty interesting. It goes, what I'm getting at is that there are so many different ways to look at sugar addiction. And in my experience, and looking back, I've been addicted to sugar for a really long time. I've been 8 days completely sugar clean, and that includes like fruit and, my carbohydrates are around 80 grams per day right now. So I'm really trying to kick this thing. And something interesting that I learned a couple of years ago, I read it somewhere, I can't remember. I think it might have been the Walls Protocol. And she was saying that your cells, and it's quite inspiring, your cells regenerate every 3 months or so, I think 90 days, something like that. And so the cells that are in your body right now none of them will be in your body in 90 days from now. The really cool thing about this is that every time a new cell is born, they're born with like a fresh new outlook on life in a way. So they learn from the cells around them. And if you're constantly thinking like, I need candy, we're addicted to sugar, I need sugar to bring me joy, and all those negative thoughts about don't trust my body, I need to restrict because I'm too fat, or I don't look good, or whatever the case may be. The really cool thing is that every moment a new cell is born, you have the opportunity to influence the way that it functions. And if each new cell that's born has a positive outlook and understands that sugar is not your fuel and that you do not need candy every single moment when you're not feeling good, then that cell will be good for the following cell, that will be good for the following cell. And so if you maintain that happy balance, every time a new cell is born, it's downloading the actions that you're doing on a daily basis. So like I said, right now I'm just over a week without sugar, so I have like a really long time to go until it's 90 days, but it's really empowering, and it could go for so much more than just sugar addiction. It could go for, larger health issues. Like how many of you have health issues and you're constantly, it's your story. You're constantly saying, oh, I'm so unhealthy, and in 1994 I had this health issue and it's been plaguing me ever since. And so that constant hash up of all those issues are breaking down your cell's ability to be positive. And so, yeah, I guess today was more of a struggles issue thing that I'm dealing with. And just to share that, like, I'm a human too, and we all have our issues. And for me, it's sugar. And it goes far beyond just like health issues. When Kevin comes home and I'm all jazzed up on sugar, or I'm in a mild unhappy state because I haven't had sugar, it's not a good situation for my relationships. It makes a lot of my friendships revolve around food, and it's just not a healthy way of going about things in my mind. And for me, health has always been about balance, and I totally respect that. And I've come a long, 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 long way in the last 10 years with my nutrition. I mean, it's crazy. My health is insanely better than it was before. But we owe it to ourselves to keep digging, to keep searching, to keep asking questions, and to keep improving ourselves step by step. And it's not improving ourselves in like a negative way, like I'm not good right now, therefore I need to change. It's just we owe it to ourselves to constantly update where we are and to assess where we're going, and to understand like where we're at right now and what we need, because it's always evolving, it's always changing. So yeah, I would love to hear in the comments how you feel about sugar, or if you're struggling with any addictions, or if you rely on certain foods like crazy and you get all weird about it. I'd love to chat more with you about all of that in the comments. So I hope you enjoyed today's first video of me just spewing out information. If you liked it, let me know and I'll keep making these. Okay, bye!